we're going to really quickly do the Wisconsin literacy staff introductions, then pass it off to Rachel. So I'm Anna Beer. I am the Northeast Regional Literacy Consultant. Shannon?
I'm Shannon Mason-Young. I am the Northwest Regional Community Coordinator.
Marcia?
And I'm Marcia Connett. I'm the Southeast Regional Consultant.
I don't know, Beth, if you can chat or not. Or Cassie. We'll just say that Beth and Cassie are on. I don't think they have speaking capabilities. Thank you, everybody. Oh, I see Beth wrote in the chat. I'm Beth. So welcome, everybody. And so I want to introduce Rachel. Rachel from Intercambio. She's here today to talk a little bit about what our memberships with Intercambio mean and how you can get more involved with the resources that they have to offer us.
Great, thank you very much. Thanks for having me today. As Anna mentioned, I was invited by Wisconsin literacy staff to share a little bit more about the member benefits that you all have joined our brand new, well, maybe not brand new anymore, but I'm going to use that as long as we're able to, but brand new member network that Intercambio launched formally in January. This 2021, but we did a slow launch in September, so almost a year ago. So you may have been hearing about it before Wisconsin Literacy formally joined. And I'm excited. I'm trying to not get distracted by the names popping up on my screen, but I know many of your names from email correspondences and book orders, so it's awesome to see you all here. So I know that many of you are somewhat familiar with Intercambio and what we do from webinars that you've attended, but I did want to just spend a couple seconds giving a quick overview of who we are. We have been running an adult ESL program in Boulder County, Colorado since 2000. We introduced our first curriculum in about 2008. So, for the first almost decade of our existence, we were using other materials, and it came to a point where we just we couldn't find exactly what we wanted. What we wanted was something really grounded in life skills, really grounded in intercultural communication, and that could be easily used by volunteer teachers. So instead of searching for imperfection, we decided to create our own series. Not that our series is perfect, nothing is, but we were able to make something that we felt really would work for our needs. And out of that gave us the opportunity to connect with organizations across the country who were really in the same dilemma, that there were a lot of great resources out there, but nothing at that point that was really tailored to volunteer programs, or programs that are mostly using volunteer teachers. So over time, as we began selling our curriculum as a way to earn revenue for our local program, we also became kind of informal consultants. A lot of brand new programs or programs that had been around for a while but hadn't really formalized their structure were reaching out to us to problem solve and talk about challenges and share successes that they were having. And what we came to see is that we were in this really unique position of learning a lot about programs across the country. So we envisioned several years ago this idea of creating a network that would allow Intercambio to be a facilitator of connections, not just between students and teachers and students and teachers and teachers at our local program level, but for Intercambio to facilitate connections across organizations. Enter 2020, when we were all faced with programmatic upheaval. Some of you may have some idea of what I might be talking about, it really lit a fire under us. We were getting calls like crazy, just programs really wanting to know what we were doing, what our informal network was doing, and we decided that that was the time to really put some energy into this network that we'd been visioning for a while. So we did a fair amount of interviewing with some programs. Several of you were part of those interviews to get a sense of, what do programs need? And the Intercambio network is what came out of that. So as I mentioned, we did a soft launch of the network in September, and we formally launched in January. So we were really excited that Wisconsin Literacy contacted us to see, to talk about ways that we could partner, the Intercambio network could partner with the Wisconsin Literacy affiliates. So Wisconsin Literacy opted to enroll at the friend level. So there are 2 levels in the 3 levels in the network. Neighbor is the lowest level, and that is, there's no opt-in to becoming a neighbor. Neighbors simply purchase our materials and have access to whatever is free on our website. The friend level is where you all have joined. And then there's one other level above at the family level. And I'll spend just a couple minutes at the end of our conversation sharing some of the distinctions. But what I really want to do today is talk about the benefits that you all are receiving at the friend level membership. So Wisconsin Literacy is paying a pretty significant discount for each of your organizations to be members, and we're super excited about that. We're just really, we're honored. I mean, we've been so excited about the level of engagement that you all have had in our programs for several years, and so we were really honored that Anna reached out to set something up. So as members, you and your teachers receive free access to 3 webinars a year, an online library of resources that includes recorded webinars, and supplemental materials to the Confidence and Connections series. And then you also receive an invitation to the annual summer conference for $25. So I'll talk about each of those in more detail, but that's kind of the big overview. Previously, Intercambio was hosting a lot of webinars, and they were always free, and many of you were attending them. The secret is that most of them were not new content. We were recycling a lot of content because we just simply didn't have capacity to develop new webinars as frequently as we were hosting them. And so the benefit to this member system is that we're really putting a ton of energy into developing new content every year. So the 3 webinars that we will host are not, it's brand new material, so nothing that you would have seen before. And then of course the conference is new material as well. So what I'm going to do is pull up a handout that I created that you'll also all have access to. Anna, if you already sent that, I did make a couple of changes. So I'll resend the new one to you just as a heads up. But let me...
So Rachel, while you pull that up, this is Anna, and Shannon's going to be sending out an email after today's call with an evaluation, which we're sending out for all of our professional development opportunities. And so she can include this in her email Perfect. Out to everybody.
And I forgot that I didn't have it on that screen. Okay, here it is. Okay, so are you seeing a PDF document that says network benefits?
Yes.
Okay. So it's super tiny. I don't need you to read it all. It's my background for you. And this is the handout that that I'll send to Shannon so that you all get it. So the first thing you'll see up here is a calendar, and I guess I could just make it bigger. So on this calendar, you'll see the 3 webinars for 2021. So the two that already happened that several of you attended, in February, we did one on using images to enhance the lesson. In April, how to successfully implement the language tools section of Confidence and Connections. And in October, we will host a webinar titled Techniques for Supporting Student Motivation and Confidence. So all of these webinars that we host are recorded. They do end up on the member portal, which you all have access to or will have access to if you haven't created an account, and I'll show you how to do that today as well. And then I had jotted down, we have our topics for the first two topics for 2022 as well. I'll get them for you. They're on a different screen and I don't want to mess up my screen share. And then another super exciting benefit opportunity that we're just really thrilled to be hosting and also a little nervous. To be honest, is the summer conference. So that will be on August 27th and 28th. You and your volunteers and any board members or additional staff have access to that for $25 for 2 half days. So we have three. We have 2 sessions planned for Saturday, 2 sessions planned for Friday, 2 workshop sessions planned for Friday and 2 workshop sessions planned for Saturday. And then on Friday and Saturday, we also have some kind of unique networking opportunities. So, not awkward networking opportunities. We're gonna be really intentional about how we facilitate those opportunities. But really, the goal for this conference is for people to learn from one another. So the presenters are all from our from the network. We sent out an all call for proposals several weeks ago, and we got some awesome proposal submissions. So they're people, they're members just like you all. Stacy, do you have a question? I don't know if you can unmute yourself or if I need to unmute you. All right, I'm going to keep going. That might have been
I think you have to unmute
I have to unmute
her.
Okay. Then if you don't mind, Stacy, I'm going to keep going. I had built in some Q&A at the end, or if it is something time sensitive, feel free to put it in the chat. So that is how the calendar looks. So as members, again, you receive free access for you, your teachers, your board members, any staff that you have to these webinars for free, and then the conference for a $25 fee per person. Now I want to show you the online member portal. So on this handout, you don't need to read it right now, but I'm just showing you that on this part of the handout, now I will circle it so that you all see exactly what I'm talking about. So this will give you instructions for how to access the portal if you haven't already, okay? And then right below that, right below what I just circled, here are the instructions for how to invite your members to join. So Anna set all of the primary contacts that were provided to Intercambio up as managers on the portal. So I imagine that's most of you have already been set up on the member portal as managers in the system. So what being a manager allows you to do is then invite your participants, so your teachers, your staff, your board, to join the portal as well. And I will show you how that looks. And maybe before we switch gears, since I have to get out of here anyway, I will see if anybody does have questions at this point. So if you do, raise your hand and I will pretend like I know what I'm doing on Zoom and figure out how to unmute you. Maybe not. I'll give you a couple seconds to think. Okay. All right. I'll keep plugging away then. Okay. So member portal. So I have gone ahead and pulled up Anna's account. There we go. Okay. Okay. So the member portal is on our website, which probably all of you have seen. So intercambio.org. When you, in order to log into the member portal, you will go to My Account, which is this super tiny, really hard to see button at the tippy top of the screen. Hang on, I got to move my toolbar so I could circle it for you. Really, really tiny at the tippy top of the screen, so on that blue bar. So you will go to My Account, click on My Account, and you'll be prompted to log in. I'm already logged in as Anna, so I didn't have to log in, but when you click on My Account, it will prompt you to log in. If you have already, if you are one of the primary contacts for your organization, then you are already set up in the account. If you have any issues with your with logging in or with your password, we can problem solve that pretty quickly in the Q&A today, because the problem, it's probably the same issue that most people have is, you didn't know you had an account, and so you don't know your password. But anyway, so you click on My Account, you end up on this page, and everything related to the content of the member portal is down here where it says Member Resources, and I will circle that for you right here. So Member Resources, okay? So you will click on Member Resources, and I will get rid of that annotation. Okay, and so in the Member Resources, here's where you have access to some pretty cool stuff. And this is a growing library, so we are adding to it pretty regularly. I just added a new resource last week. So maybe not every day, but we're regularly adding to it. So there, in this first menu option, membership documents, this is kind of the least exciting part of the member portal. But here you have information about your benefits. There are instructions for how to add participants to your group. There's an overview of comparing different membership levels. So there are different resources here. This is the least exciting part of the portal, so you can ignore that first link. The second link here, resources for confidence and connections. We have a handful of supplemental materials for the textbooks. We have a conversation practice guide. So I'll just show you what that looks like. So this is some structured ideas for ways that you can incorporate conversation into classes or to have separate conversation classes. So that's one sample of what's there. We have the color vowel organizer, which is a supplemental activity for the color vowel chart, which is the really cool pronunciation resource in all of our textbooks. We have some book club guides. So what our local students do after they complete level 5 in the Confidence and Connection series is they participate in a book club. And so we have included the book club guides that we've developed thus far. We are reading a new book this term. I can't remember what it's called, The Diary of Somebody, not Wimpy Kid. It's a new book I hadn't heard of. And so we'll be adding that guide here after this term ends once we get some feedback on it. But this is a really cool resource for any of your teachers who are working beyond level 5, whether you're using Confidence and Connections or not. This is a really awesome resource. And then these last three resources are all directly linked to confidence and connection. So these Jeopardy slides are supplemental slides for the review materials in the textbooks. So it's a Jeopardy game that you can use for review. So in order to play these, you do have to either download them onto a computer and then open them with PowerPoint, or you would need to open them with if you have a Google account, you would open them with a Google account and play them with Google Slides. And then another cool resource, if your class if you have online classes, are these slides. So these slides are also embedded in Google. So again, in order to use them, you either have to download them onto your computer and play them with PowerPoint, present them with PowerPoint, or present them on your own Google account as a slideshow. It's really important, if any of you have tried to use these and not understood what the heck the point was, it's really important that you present them as a slide presentation, which I think I didn't just do. So let me show you. So you have to click this present. If you're using Google Slides, you have to click the present link, the top right of the screen. And what this does is sort of annotate. If you see, the F just was underlined. So it annotates the answers as you go through the book. So that's a neat resource for those of you who are teaching online. These were created by some of our local volunteers, so there may be some imperfections in them, but they work just fine for people who have been using them. So we've gone through, and please raise your hand or give me a smiley or a thumbs down or something if I'm going too fast or too slow. It's odd because I can't see anybody. So I'm assuming the positive, that I'm not hearing from you, so you've got it, as opposed to not hearing from you so you don't have it. So that was the second link here, resources for confidence and connections. The third link is program tools. So these are some cool templates, and I see a chat. Let's see.
The chat says pace is good.
Okay, good, because I can't figure out how to see it. Thank you. So these are some program tools. So these aren't really meant for teachers per se. They're meant for those of you who are coordinators of the classes. But these are templates that, most of you are well-established programs. I imagine you have many of these resources already, and plus you have access to the Wisconsin literacy resources. But a lot of the network members that we have brought on so far are brand new programs, and so they're making use of these. But teacher observation checklists, student completion certificates, an attendance sheet template, student rubric, student feedback forms. So these are some cool resources that you can play around with. They're all editable, so you can download them and save them and make changes. The next link in the portal is the webinar and training recordings link. So this is where we add each new webinar that we host. We populated this with previous webinars that we had run. And moving forward, we will add all of the webinars, the 3 annual webinars that we host. So for you, for your participants who want to attend and are unable to attend, or you want a refresher, you can come through and watch any of these recordings. These two, the last two, are maybe less relevant now that we're a year and a half into online classes, but these are class recordings of online classes, and we found them really useful for at the beginning of the pandemic, when we all switched to online classes, and a lot of programs really, it was so hard for all of us to conceptualize what an online class would look like. And so we recorded a couple of our classes, one at the intro level and one at level 5R. So, you know, brand new beginning class and a very advanced class. We made a recording of them just to get a sense of how it looked. The next thing on this list is member events. In addition to receiving an email invitation to member events, you and your participants can log into the member portal and register for them here. Now, this is a super important note that is on the handout as well. The only people who, we do not have all the contact information for all of your participants. So any invitation that you receive, whether for an Intercambio activity, whether it's from me or from Wisconsin Literacy, we are relying on you to forward it on to your participants. If you would like to add participants to our email list, we are happy to do that. You can contact me directly, but by default, we just ask that you forward any invitations on. Or you can sign your participants up for the member portal and direct them to this webpage where they can register as well. Now, the last thing on here that I want to show you is where your group lives. So you can get there a couple of different ways, but I'll show you this way. So again, in the menu on the right-hand side, at the bottom, Manage Group. So you all are part of the Wisconsin Literacy Group. So this is how your screen should look. Like I said, I'm logged in as Anna, but this is how it should look. So you click on Wisconsin Literacy, and this is where you can see the members. So if you are set up as a manager, and you will know that because in this role column, let's see. Oh, and I found the chat. And Amy, yes, I will go back and open up some of the program tools, not a problem. For some reason, when I clicked on annotate, the chat popped up, so it must have been hiding somewhere. So let me show you. So in this role column, that's where you'll see whether, you know, a member has been set up as a manager or a member. Again, the manager has capabilities to add and remove other members. The member role does not have capabilities of that. Now, what's kind of cool about this view is you can also see when people have logged in. So, you know, this is a bonus. It's not, you know, there's some cool things that live here, but obviously it's just a bonus. And so I doubt this would, be a requirement for people to log in, but it might be interesting for you to see when people have last logged in to the portal itself. So to add a member, you go to, gotta get out of this annotate, you go to add a member. So now I'm on the left-hand side. Under the My Account header, I click Add Member, and these instructions are on the handout as well. And the easiest way to add a member is to copy this link that I just highlighted, copy the registration link, paste it in an email and blast it out to your participants. When they click on that link, it will take them directly to the website and they'll be able to create an account. That's really the quickest way to do that. So for any of you who haven't invited your participants, that's how I would recommend that you do it. There are instructions on the handout as well. Okay, so Amy, I'm going to go back to show you some of those program tools. So this is, again, the main page when you log in. So when you click My Account, this is where you'll go. Well, you click My Account and then you log in, and this is where you will go. And then I click on Member Resources, which is the second paragraph, or the first paragraph under Membership Information. So I click on Member Resources. And then the menu on the right will allow me to navigate to the different sections of the website. So here are the program tools. So is there a particular one you'd like to see? I'll start with this one. So this was student feedback for one-on-one lessons. So these are questions that we ask locally of our local program when we connect with our one-on-one students a couple of times a year. And these are the questions that we ask them, and then we compile this information and provide it to the teachers. So are the lessons fun? Is the teacher prepared? Do you ask questions when you don't understand? Does your teacher give you homework, etc.? So again, just ideas to get your programmatic juices flowing. Here's a student record sheet. So this is an attendance template. So when I click on student record sheet template, it downloads. So I don't know if you caught that, but it downloaded on the bottom. And when I open it, can you now see Excel, or are you still on?
It is coming up, I believe. Okay,
cool, great. Okay, so here's a template for attendance, or this isn't attendance. This is how we determine whether students move on or not at the end of a term. So this is a template for that process. And if I go back,
I think unfortunately it's not loading.
It's not loading. Okay.
Yeah, we just see the the thinking circle.
Okay. Well, that is a template for information that you can populate for determining whether students would move on or not. At the end of a term, there is a student record sheet instructions. I think, you see this, right? Because this is now a web.
Yeah, we can see this one.
I think it was because that was an Excel file. So I didn't have my screen share set up correctly. So here are the instructions, suggested instructions for how to complete the template that you couldn't see. So those are some ideas of what's on in that program tools section. Would it be helpful for me to go through more, or is that a good sampling?
I think that's a good sampling.
Okay.
We are definitely learning about all of the resources that are in there to support us.
Yes.
So this is great.
There are a lot. Okay, so let me go back to my notes and make sure I touched upon everything I wanted to touch upon before we go to questions. Yes, I didn't want to go in more depth until I knew what you all wanted to see. So I am ready and available for questions. Comments or complaints. Somebody's got their hand raised. Let me see. Anna, did you say something? Were you going to say something?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Amy.
All right. And I figured, Amy, you should be unmuted, or I'm asking you if you want to unmute.
Sorry, I was going to tell you that it wasn't loading, but you had already gotten that. I just forgot to take my hand down.
Okay. I'm learning about being a panelist. This is a cool function of Zoom. So, okay. I see lots of questions. This is awesome. Okay. So, okay. Oh, and Diane, you're reminding me that I didn't talk about the family level. So Diane, I see your question. I'm going to go to that about talking about the distinction between friend and family. Give me just a couple minutes. Heather, I am unmuting you.
Hi, Rachel. Thank you so much. I was wondering if you have any recommendations for the steps we should take to best onboard tutors to using all of the materials in the portal, as far as training them and showing them the different resources.
So I would do something like this. We had some recordings. I'll have to double check. I know we made some changes to the website recently, and I can't remember if we have already redone the recordings, but we did a couple, just like a 3-minute recording on a quick overview of what I just did today. So that would also be a way that you wouldn't have to, set up an hour-long Zoom for your participants. So let me double check what the status is on those. But I would recommend that. I mean, I think really for your participants, the two areas of the member portal that I think are going to be most useful are the recordings, the webinar recordings, and the supplements to Confidence and Connections. So what I would recommend really before you even think about onboarding is for you all to take some time to mess around in the member portal. You know, every organization's teachers are just so different in terms of what they want and how much extra they want, and so I think that if you spend some time on it, you'll get a sense of what your teachers need, and then you can really tailor a quick overview for them. But we do have, or we will have an edited version of a recording to take people through it. Does that help? It's kind of a vague answer, but I think it really just depends. I mean, I would just do what I just did. I'm making myself a note. Let's see. Okay, and then
it looks like Diane
Lily
has a question.
Yeah. Oh, Diane, I do see the family member question. I'm not ignoring it. I just want to wait. I don't want to muddy the waters by talking about family membership quite yet. But I won't forget that because it actually was on my handout. So Lily, can you clarify what you're looking for in terms of in-person presentations? Are you inviting us to visit you? And I gave you unmute privileges.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. That's exactly what I was wondering, whether you would be interested in visiting us and what the value of that would be for us and, you investing your time.
So we used to do quite a bit of traveling. We are really limiting that in the short term because there are literally 3 of us on our team and we have way too much to do. So I would say let's hold that thought. It's something that we do see a lot of value in, as particularly because of how Intercambio is about connections and meaningful connections, and it's just a lot harder to do that online. Now, I will say though that I am a very humble person, but I'm not a very humble person when it comes to our trainings because I think we do a really good job. And I do think that our online trainings are really good. And one of the perks to membership is that it's a little different because of the kind of partnership that Anna and I developed between the Wisconsin Literacy Affiliates and us. But one of the perks is that we will host a webinar, one of the live online webinars that we're doing that year, just for you all, so that it wouldn't be open to anybody else. So it would still be online, but it would just be Wisconsin Literacy Affiliates. And so there was some conversation about whether that might happen in the fall or not. So I would say, right now, it's not something we have capacity to do, but it's something that we used to do quite a bit of, and we really enjoyed it. And so, fingers crossed in the future.
Thank you.
I have always wanted to go. I've only been over the border from Illinois, so I have wanted to go to Wisconsin. Any other questions about the friend benefits? And if not, then I will go into family membership.
We did have Cynthia has her hand raised.
Oh, okay. Thank you for, I see that.
And Diane also has her hand raised. I'm not sure if she has a different question or not.
I think she chatted and said, fine, I think based on my comment that I would get to the question. Okay, Cynthia.
Hi, thanks for being here today. We serve refugees, many of whom have never been to school. So could you please address Intercambio's materials and discuss using those materials for basic and below basic and non-literate individuals? Thank you.
Our materials are not designed for that level. Our intro book is really, it does assume some level of basic literacy, at least in a student's native language, unfortunately. The best resources, which you probably already know, but the best resources that we've seen on for that level of learner is through Minnesota Literacy, and they just came out with a new resource. I don't know if you haven't seen it. It's really excellent, and it's super affordable. And I will send that. Is that something that's new to some of you? Because if it is, then I'll send that link when I send the handout.
We're very familiar with the site. This newer item you're mentioning, I'm not familiar with.
Well, it's awesome. So I highly recommend it. We were just talking with, I can't remember. Oh, one of our partners in Washington State, they work with, they're in Eastern Washington, the Family Learning Center, and they work with a lot of learners at that level as well. And we just did a coaching call with them to go over the resource, and I mean, they love it. It's really fabulous. And it is fairly new, like came out late this spring. So I will send that. I'll send that link to you. I haven't used it personally, but our group teacher manager, she just started using it when it came out, and she says it's a really good kind of supplement. So she's incorporating some of the lessons, or recommending that our teachers at the intro level incorporate individual lessons into the series, the Confidence and Connection series.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay. Diane. Okay, Diane, I am going to, and Cynthia, I lowered your hand, so if you had another question, feel free to raise it again. I didn't realize I could lower people's hands. That's all powerful. Okay, so let me pull up my handout again. Okay, so here are, oh, I forgot to mention one other thing. So before I move on to the family level, you all received, so earlier this year, we created a subscription to an online digital view of the textbooks. It's an annual an annual subscription to view them. If you're meeting online, it's a great resource, but it's definitely not a required resource, and the slides on the member portal work really well as well. This annual subscription to the digital view is just a higher quality view of the books. It's not interactive, but as friend members, you receive a 10% discount on a subscription to that using this code upon checkout. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the family level. So the additional benefits at the family level are that there are additional monthly activities. So the two additional activities are informal coffee hours and networking calls. The coffee hours take place on a quarterly basis. They're online. They are intended for your teachers. So we bring teachers together who are using the Confidence and Connection series to problem solve, to talk about challenges, to celebrate successes. It's an awesome way for teachers to see that, they're a part of something bigger than than just their class. The Intercambio staff very loosely facilitates the coffee hours, but they're really intended for teachers to connect with one another. So that is an added benefit. Another added benefit are the networking calls. So networking calls are also quarterly. These are intended for program administrators. So program administrators, we come together to learn about one another's programs in the context of different themes. So for example, in May, we talked about professional development for our teachers, how to encourage them to do it, how to make it fun, how to make it engaging, how to determine what we think our teachers need. In January, our theme was how to incorporate concepts of diversity, equity, and inclusion into both our classes and our programs. And then in the last, before that, in November, the networking call theme was how to know when it's, how to kind of create our plan for transitioning back to in-person classes. And then this upcoming one in August, we'll be talking about teacher onboarding. So ideas for, you know, how that looks at different programs. So basically at the family level membership, you and your teachers have access to monthly, between the conference, the live online webinars, the informal coffee hours, and the networking calls, you have access to monthly activities. Family members pay dues that are based on program size. And I'm going to, well, I'll keep this up. I forgot that I can't see you all, so there's no benefit to me from stopping the screen share. So the fee for family level depends on program budget size. So I imagine, you know, most of you are on the small end, so you would probably pay the $250 fee. Maybe some of you would pay the $500 fee. Wisconsin Literacy has already paid $50 for each of you as members. I am more than happy to, if you do want to upgrade your membership, I'm more than happy to credit that $50 towards an upgrade. We would love to have you. You also receive free access to the conference. So instead of the $25 fee per participant, you and your participants would be able to attend for free. The major benefit to the family level membership, and really one of the reasons that we decided it didn't make sense just to automatically bring all of you on at the family level, is that you and your participants would receive access to a complete online teacher training. So, you know, best practices for adult ESL teaching, but entirely in the context of the Confidence and Connection series. So as opposed to being a kind of one-size-fits-all training, it is best practices embedded in the series. So it's, you know, it's a 2-for-1 because you get to train your volunteers on, you know, what they need to be successful, including the series, you know, the curriculum that they're using. I know that many of you are already using the pro literacy training, which is awesome. So it's not, you know, I mean, we really don't, it's not a competition. It's really, you know, this training is embedded in the context of our curriculum, but the training's excellent, and it's fully comprehensive. You know, the only thing that you would add as a program is whatever, you know, orientation or logistics you would want to add that are specific to your program. So that is the major benefit at the family level of membership. Now there is a giant, I mean, I say giant because it is a little bit of work on your part, but giant because we're super excited about it. So a giant ask at the family level membership, in that really our goal for this network is to be able to show collective impact. How are we making an impact in our local communities, and how does that impact, you know, the nation, the U.S. adult immigrant language learning population. And so in order to do that, what we are asking all of our family members to do is contribute to some outcome data. So we would ask you, if you joined at the family level, we would ask you to, I'm going to close this now, we would ask you to contribute some basic program statistics like number of students, number of teachers, a retention rate on an annual basis. We would also ask you to collect some pre and post learner outcome information and provide that to us. It is not personally identifiable to your students specifically, but it's broad statistics getting at some of the outcomes that your students are seeing based on their English language classes, like reduced use, well, we hope, reduced use of translators at schools and at doctors' offices, a greater sense of belonging in the community, a greater confidence in using and understanding English. So we provide you with a set of questions that we would ask you to facilitate with a sample of your students, and then you would provide that information back to us. And in return, you would then see collectively how the entire network, how we all look on those outcome statistics. So that's really that is an ask of you all if you join at the family level. We also ask similar questions of your teachers, but that happens through the training program itself, so you wouldn't have to do any of that facilitation. And I am more than happy to talk individually with any of you who might be interested in that piece of family level membership as well. Any other questions? Diane, you should be able to unmute yourself.
In regards to the teacher training, is it focusing on classes or is it focusing on one-on-one tutoring? Because most of ours is tutoring. Okay.
Both. And there are in the sections where we felt like we had to be really precise in our language, we provide 2 video options. So a teacher can either choose to watch a one-on-one class or a group class.
Perfect.
It is all of the clips, the sample class clips are done online at this point. We will, once our own local program moves back to in-person, we will provide in-person recordings as well.
Thank you.
And I can provide you with a preview of that, Diane, or any of you, if that would be of interest. Okay. Any other questions? Well, if not, I'll let you think of some questions as I close. Personally, just, I want to reiterate how, what an honor it is for us to work with Wisconsin Literacy and you all, and, how excited we were, Anna, when you reached out to talk about what it could look like for your affiliates to have access to the membership. So it's something that we don't take lightly. We know that you already have a plethora of resources, that you're running fantastic programs, and that you all connect in really inspiring ways as well. And so if we can be a piece of that picture, it just makes us really proud. And that's all for me.
Great. Thank you so much, Rachel, for joining us and answering questions. I would encourage anybody on this call, if you have any questions about, how you can access more resources or get more materials, to reach out to your regional staff with those questions as well. And as we think about how this partnership looks forward, if you have professional development ideas that you want us to know about, as Rachel mentioned, we can do a session with them just for our Wisconsin Literacy members. So if you have ideas of what that should look like, please let us know. And thank you, everybody, for taking the time to share your thoughts and ideas, and Rachel, for all of your great work and everything that Intercambio is doing to support learning. We have always loved your professional development. Cool. So thank you.
All right. Well, thanks for inviting me to be here. I really hope that many of you will be at the conference. And so please take advantage of that. Okay.
Great, thank you. And everyone watch for your email from the follow-up email from Shannon, and please do the real brief survey in there as well.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.